Have you ever wondered why some retirees seem to live comfortably for decades while others struggle to make ends meet? What's their secret? Today, you're about to uncover one of the oldest, most powerful tools for retirement security and how it actually works. But here's the twist. Most people misunderstand it, leaving thousands of dollars on the table. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know how to avoid that mistake yourself. Number 1. What is a pension plan, really? Let's start simple. A pension plan is a type of retirement plan set up by your employer that promises to pay you a regular income after you retire. Think of it like planting a money tree while you work. Every year you work, that tree grows bigger, and when you retire, it starts dropping fruit in the form of monthly payments for the rest of your life. Here's an example. Say you work for a city government for 30 years. Each year, a little money is put into your pension. When you retire at 65, you start receiving $2,000 a month, every month, as long as you're alive. That's a pension. Simple enough, right? But there's more under the surface you need to know. Number 2, how does the money actually get there? You might be thinking, what does this money even come from? Great question. Most pensions are funded in 2 ways. First, your employer contributes a certain percentage of your salary into a giant pension fund. Second, sometimes you also chip in a little from your paycheck. This big pool of money is then invested, usually in stocks, bonds, and other safe investments, so it grows over time. That way, when you retire, there's enough to pay you and all your coworkers their promised income. For example, imagine you and all your coworkers contribute to one giant pot. The company hires professional investors to grow it steadily. By the time you retire, that pot is big enough to slice into hundreds of monthly payments. Number 3, the 2 types of pension plans you need to know. Here's where it gets interesting. Not all pensions are created equal. There are 2 main types: defined benefit and defined contribution. Defined benefit means your employer promises you a specific amount when you retire. For example, you'll get 50% of your final salary every year after retirement. It's predictable. You know what you'll get. Defined contribution, on the other hand, doesn't promise a specific amount. Instead, your employer puts money into an account for you, and you decide how it's invested. When you retire, you get whatever the account grew into. Here's an example. Sam works for a company with a defined benefit plan and knows he'll get $2,500 per month at retirement. But his friend Lisa has a defined contribution plan. She invests well and ends up with a big nest egg. But if her investments had gone badly, she could have ended up with less. Number 4, why pensions are becoming rare. Now, here's the bad news. Pensions aren't as common as they used to be. 40 years ago, nearly 60% of workers in the USA had a pension. Today, less than 15%. Why? Because they're expensive for employers to maintain and risky if the investment funds underperform. Instead, many companies have switched to 401k plans where employees save for themselves. But if you work for a government agency, school district, or certain large corporations, you might still have access to a good pension plan. And that's a big deal. Number 5, how much can you actually expect? So now you're probably wondering, how much can a pension really pay? It depends on 3 big factors. First, how long you've worked for the company. More years usually equals a bigger monthly check. Second, your final salary. Pensions often calculate your payment as a percentage of your highest average salary. Third, your age when you retire. Retire earlier and you may get less each month. Wait a few more years and the payment gets bigger. For example, if you work for 35 years and retire at 65, you could receive 60% of your final salary every year. That's a huge help when combined with Social Security and personal savings. Number 6, what if you change jobs? Here's a question a lot of beginners ask. What happens if you switch jobs? If you leave before you're vested, which is the point where you officially earn the right to your pension, you might lose some or all of it. Vesting periods usually range from 3 to 7 years. For example, if you quit your job after 2 years, you might get nothing. But if you stick around for at least 5 years, you could keep all the money your employer has already promised. So always check the vesting schedule before making career moves. Number 7, what about taxes? Now, let's talk taxes, because nobody likes a surprise come April. Pension income is usually taxed as ordinary income. That means when you receive those monthly checks, you'll pay income tax on them just like you did when you were working. For example, if you receive $30,000 a year from your pension, that amount is added to your taxable income. But the good news? You're often in a lower tax bracket when retired, so your overall tax rate might be lower than when you were working full-time. Number 8. Can you lose your pension? This one makes people nervous, and for good reason. What if your company goes bankrupt? In most cases, your pension is protected. There's even a government agency called the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation that steps in to make sure retirees still get at least part of what they were promised. For example, if your company goes under, the PBGC might take over the plan and still pay you most of what you earned, though possibly at a reduced amount. So while it's not guaranteed to the last dollar, you're not left empty-handed. Number 9. Why a pension can still be better than a 401k. You might be thinking, why bother with a pension if I can just save in a 401k? Here's the big difference. A pension gives you guaranteed income for life, no matter how long you live. That takes a huge weight off your shoulders because you can't outlive it. A 401k, on the other hand, is just a pile of money you have to manage. If you live longer than expected or invest poorly, you might run out. For example, imagine you live to 95. A pension keeps paying you month after month, while a drained 401k would leave you scrambling. That peace of mind is priceless. Number 10. How to make the most of your pension. Finally, let's talk about how to squeeze the most out of your pension. First, stay at your job long enough to become fully vested. Don't walk away too soon. Second, understand your plan's formula. Some plans reward longer service, so sticking around a few extra years can make a big difference. Third, coordinate with other retirement income sources like Social Security and personal savings to create a complete plan. For example, if your pension and Social Security cover your basic living costs, you can use your personal savings for fun, like traveling, hobbies, or spoiling the grandkids. Number 11. What if you pass away early? One big concern people have is what happens to their pension if they pass away shortly after retiring. Most pension plans offer options called survivor benefits or joint and survivor annuities. For example, you can choose a reduced monthly amount while you are alive, but if you pass away, your spouse keeps getting a portion of your pension for life. This can bring peace of mind knowing your loved ones will still have some income even after you are gone. Just remember, choosing survivor benefits usually means your monthly check while you are alive will be smaller. Number 12. Can you take a lump sum instead? Some pension plans let you choose between monthly payments for life or one big lump sum when you retire. The lump sum is tempting because it gives you control of all the money up front. For example, you could take a lump sum of $400,000 instead of $2,000 a month for life. But beware, once you take it, it's up to you to invest it wisely. If you spend it too fast or make poor investment decisions, you could run out of money. That's why many financial planners recommend sticking with the monthly payments unless you have a solid investment plan. Number 13. How inflation affects your pension. A common mistake people make is forgetting about inflation. Many pensions don't increase payments over time. That means the $2,000 you get each month today might not stretch as far 20 years from now. Some plans offer a cost of living adjustment or COLA, which raises your payments a little each year to keep up with inflation. For example, if inflation is 3%, your check might increase by 3% the next year. Always ask if your plan has a COLA so you can plan ahead. Number 14. How pensions fit with Social Security. Many beginners ask, if I have a pension, do I still get Social Security? The answer is usually yes, but there are exceptions. If you worked in certain government jobs where you didn't pay Social Security taxes, your Social Security benefits might be reduced. This is called the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP. For example, if you worked for a state agency that didn't withhold Social Security, your Social Security check might be smaller even if you earned enough credits. So always check how your pension interacts with Social Security before making retirement plans. Number 15. Why it's important to know your plan's details. No two pensions are alike. That's why it's critical to get a copy of your plan's summary and actually read it. Look for details like vesting periods, payout options, survivor benefits, COLAs, and how early retirement affects your payments. For example, some plans cut your payments by 30% if you retire 5 years early. while others only cut 10%. Knowing these details helps you avoid surprises and make smarter choices. Pensions can feel complicated at first, but now you know they're really just a promise of steady income after decades of hard work. And understanding how they work could make the difference between a stressful retirement and a comfortable one. What's one thing about pensions that surprised you the most today? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts.